Call to order the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Springdale, November 15, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, we thank you for all the blessings of this life, and especially for those that are in this free land, for the fruits of the soil, the untold resources of this earth, the opportunities for work and play and healthful living, for liberty in speech and written word, for public education and regard for every man's welfare. And we pray that as we thank you for these and all of your mercies, you will continue your good hand upon us and make our nation great in that greatness which alone is pleasing to you, even the righteousness that is in the doing of your holy will. Amen.
and please silence all cell phones. Ms. McNair, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson?
Present.
Mrs. Gantos?
Here.
Mr. Hawkins?
Present.
Mr. Jacobs?
Present.
Mr. Ramirez?
Present.
Mrs. Sullivan-Weiscup?
Present.
Mr. Vanover?
And Mr. Vanover had indicated he's traveling and making his best efforts to try to get here, but he's probably just landed about half an hour ago or so. At the request of the administration, we are going to, going back 1 second, looking at the minutes from November 1st, 2023. Council have any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, what's your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And the minutes pass with 6 affirmative votes. Moving down to our special presentations and resolutions, at the request of the administration, we are going to do Resolution R-17, 2023 first. Resolution R-17, 2023, commending Kathy McNair for her dedication and service to the City of Springdale. Whereas Kathy Gillen McNair began calling Springdale home in 1969 when she moved here from Philadelphia with her family and resided in Beacon Hills subdivision. A Princeton High School graduate, she married her high school sweetheart, Jim McNair. The McNairs lived in several neighborhoods in Springdale, and their grandchildren are fourth-generation Springdale residents. Whereas in 1972, during the inaugural year of the Springdale Recreation Center, Kathy was hired for her first job at the age of 15 at the Recreation Center, where she worked in the basket room. In this role, she learned customer service skills and a variety of tasks, such as concession stand operations, setting up for weddings and parties in the gym, cleaning up after parties, assisting in the office with memberships, typing, ground supervisor, and that all-important line on every job description that reads, and anything else as assigned. She also taught gymnastics and ceramics. And whereas Kathy became inspired by her Springdale experience as an employee during her youth and endeavored to give back to the community by looking for means to serve, she was appointed to the Charter Revision Committee and the Board of Zoning Appeals. Kathy also served as a soccer coach, a volunteer, and a treasurer for Fry's. Jim McNair contributed by being with their 2 sons while Kathy pursued these activities, and he also coached baseball and basketball. Whereas in 1994, Kathy served as an at-large council member in an unexpired term and was re-elected for the 4-year full term in the next year. Kathy quoted this as a true test of the strength of your marriage to run a political campaign twice in a year. And whereas during her tenure as an at-large member of council for 13 years, she also served on the Board of Zoning Appeals, Vice President of Council, President of Council, and History Book Committee member. Many artifacts and pictures from her family are included in the history book. Whereas Kathy made the recommendation to Mayor Doyle Webster that we take advantage of the beautiful pine tree on the municipal building grounds and use it for the tree lighting ceremony, and thankfully he granted that request, and it has been a tradition for over 20 years. And whereas Kathy was elected in 2007 as Springdale's 6th Clerk of Council Finance Director, over the course of 4 terms, the Finance Department worked continuously to improve and automate processes. In consideration of the Excellence in Accounting Designation Awards for over 25 years and the quality of the AFR and line reporting, full-time accounting professionals on site, it was the recommendation of Kathy, administration, and the Finance Office Tax Commissioner that the elected position she held be eliminated and her responsibilities absorbed and reassigned into other roles, which resulted in a savings to the city in salary and benefits costs. This change was successfully passed by the electors as a charter change in November 2021. Whereas Kathy leaves the formal role as elected official, employee, volunteer from teenager to senior after a 51-year commitment of service to a new role of full-time professional grandparent. And now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that Kathy McNair is hereby given the commendation of Council of the City of Springdale for her outstanding and distinguished service to our city. Section 2, that the Clerk of Council Finance Director Kathy McNair receive a certified copy of this resolution as a remembrance of this action. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law, passed this 15th of November 2023. Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Sullivan-Weiskopf.
Thank you, Mr. President, working Vice President, sorry. Kathy McNair, I've known you for much of my life, and I think that you're a very, very special person. I think you know that. And I think that you have done awesome by this city. You've done great in your job. You've always been financially responsible with our city's money and keeping us apprised of what's happening. And I appreciate everything that you've done from the time you were 15 until whenever you're finished with us. Thank you so much for all of your time and dedication.
Thank you, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Webster.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I remember this 15-year-old basket girl and the layer. I remember this 15-year-old basket girl and later front office personnel as a young teenager down there. I watched her grow up, knew her family very, very well, still do to this day, and have been privileged to consider her and her family some of our closest friends in the city of Springdale. And she's been a very active supporter of mine, and likewise, we've been a very active supporter of hers over the years. And Kathy, it's not going to be the same without you here. And I'd like to think that maybe it won't be the same without me either. But anyway, I'm sure the city is well equipped to carry on without the two of us. But we can sit back and watch and throw stones if it doesn't, things don't go right. But anyway, thank you very much for all your years of service and your sacrifices. Believe me, I know what it takes.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
And thank you for all the time that's been spent, the sacrifice of taking time away from family. For me, for the last 20 years since when I started on Planning Commission, there have been several folks that have been role models. You've been one of those individuals in terms of the way you conduct business and conduct yourself as an elected official. So I appreciate that. Also appreciate every year how you remind us to turn in our financial ethics. So I don't know, you have to come back and remind us for that too, even when you're gone.
You'll get my email.
We appreciate you. And I know that if President Vanover was here, he would tell you a tip of the hat.
Oh, thank you.
Did you have anything you want me to call on you?
Yeah, I do have a few words to say too.
We'll go ahead and
Before or after is fine.
we'll go ahead and go through the vote process. You shouldn't have to call your own. I'll do this too. Ms. Sullivan-Weiskup?
Aye.
Ms. Gantos? Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins? Aye. Resolution R-17, 2023 passes with 6 affirmative votes. Ms. McNair.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did type up some things because 30 years, I'll go back 50 years, there's a lot of things to cover. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget a couple of things here. So first off, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the residents of the city of Springdale for the past 30 years as an elected official and also as an employee, a volunteer, a coach, a council committee member since 1972. And volunteering was a means to pay forward to the city for all the city has given to me, and it's been a lot since hiring me as a 15-year-old. You know, the job has taught me a work ethic, customer service skills, problem solving, team building, and leadership, just to name a few. And we've seen a lot of changes, expansion, and automation over the years. And at one time, all of our minutes were handwritten on onion skin paper, and a lot of people in the room may not even know what that is. So I asked Nicole to pull a copy, and you can probably even see me through this. This is what onion skin paper is. And at one time, they were even handwritten, and this one is actually typed. But we've gone from that to, you know, everything's automated. It all comes through the system. Same thing with our financials. At one time, it was all handwritten on ledger paper. So those are big changes. So a lot of changes. So we got to the point that we could actually eliminate this position and save some money. We've also had a lot of ups and downs financially in the city. And just like we do in our own homes, can't afford it this year, we put it off till next year. And that's the way you have to run a city. I also want to thank the mayor and the council members, city administrators, our department directors, our support staff, and the expert advisors we have, our attorneys, our planners, our engineers, who I've worked with within the past 30 years, as well as all the residents who elected me as clerk of council, finance director, and council members multiple times. And also thanks go to my husband for supporting my need to serve the community and picking up a lot of the extras to care for our sons when they were young, because I was gone to meetings or on the campaign trail. And thanks to my sons, Jake and Austin, for understanding why mom couldn't always be at their ball games or their concerts or other events, not to mention the paper cuts they got from rolling hundreds of campaign flyers. And thanks to my grandkids who didn't understand why Grandy had to leave them with Pa Jim early to go to a meeting, but they understand that tonight is the last council meeting ever. And I'm trading in my business laptop for a backpack that holds lots of drink boxes and snacks and whatever paraphernalia we need for our next adventure. So in closing, I've enjoyed my time with the city. I believe we all hope that we leave a small imprint of improvement when we devote so much time to an endeavor, but to continue to improve, we have to evolve, and that means change. And most people are change adverse, but I spent a good part of my career as a change agent in the private sector business world, and I'm ready for the second retirement of my career, and I'm happy for the next chapter. So I wish our Mayor Hawkins-elect and the new council, who will be sworn in December 1st, the best wishes, and I ask all the residents to offer their support to our new administration. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you. But before we move on, the administration has some additional information. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kathy specifically asked that we not make a big deal of things for her, so that's all I have to say about you. However, I would like to call, we have some special guests this evening. We're under some new microphones here, a little, sorry about that. I feel like I'm getting an echo. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Our first guest this evening to make a presentation is State Representative Jessica Miranda.
Button. Got it? Oh, the top one.
There you go.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good evening, City of Springdale. I am so honored to be here to honor some great public servants who have given so much time to the City of Springdale. And Kathy, we're going to start with you. So I have this wonderful commendation on behalf of the members of the Ohio General Assembly of the 135th General Assembly. This is signed by me as your state representative and the Speaker of the House, Jason Stevens. Oh, about to knock the microphone over. And instead of reading this verbatim, because I think you know what this says, I'd like to just speak a little bit more about you and my comments that I've written down for tonight. We are here to honor Kathy McNear as she retires from her current position as City Clerk of Council and Finance Director and enters her new role as full-time professional grandparent, which I was very happy to hear. Her journey started at the age of 15 years old, and I'm not going to repeat all of this because you've already heard this from Mayor-elect, but I just want to say your legacy, the numerous improvements that has happened here in the city of Springdale with you at the helm, the residents, myself as your state representative, we are very appreciative of everything you have given to the city of Springdale. This is oftentimes a thankless job, and so I'm here tonight not only to honor you from the Ohio State House, but to thank you for your years of service and what you have given to this city. So with that, I hope you enjoy your retirement. With your husband, Jim, your new role as grandmother. I want to thank you for your sincere dedication that is evident in your continued support to this city and the residents of Springdale. And it is with sincere gratitude that I say, Kathy, thank you so very much, and I hope and wish you a full retirement and everything that your heart desires. You deserve relaxation and rest, and take care of those grandbabies, and don't be a stranger.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Up next, we have our Southwest Ohio Regional Liaison, Derek Chancellor, from the Governor's Office.
Yeah.
All right, Representative Miranda. Oh, your stuff here, sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm Derek Chancellor. I'm the Southwest Regional for Lieutenant Governor John Husted, and I have a commendation here from Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted. So I will just read it quickly here. I understand we still have the rest of the meeting here, and on behalf of the state of Ohio, we sincerely thank and commend you for your 51 years of dedicated service to the city of Springdale, including 13 years on city council and 4 terms as clerk of council and finance director. Your commitment and dedication to making a positive difference have made your community, our region, and the state of Ohio a better place to live, work, and raise a family. We recognize you for your many years of selfless public service, and we wish you the best in a well-deserved retirement. So thank you for your many years of service, and it was interesting to learn about all the technological advancements that the city has seen during your time here, but it sounds like you've had quite an impact. So I'm honored to be here on behalf of the governor and lieutenant governor today to recognize you. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. President, I have one more guest speaker for presenter for Kathy. It's Field Representative Michael Robinson from Congressman Warren Davidson's office.
Good evening. My voice, I'm losing my voice a little bit. My wife thinks that's fantastic, but I do apologize for my voice tonight. But I have a letter from the congressman who is in D.C., but he wrote, "Congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. Serving the community of Springdale for the past 51 years is something you should be extremely proud of. I didn't have the pleasure of getting to work with you, but in speaking with your colleagues, it is clear you have that jack of all trades mentality. You clearly have a passion for service and giving back, whether that was volunteering for committees, boards, coaching soccer, or whatever else was needed. We certainly could use more folks like that these days. I also noticed that you were a member of the History Book Committee. I've always loved history and believe that we need to cherish and be proud of our history. You are and always will be a part of the legacy of the city of Springdale. I regret that I'm not able to attend your celebration and recognize you in person, but I'm confident they'll give you the appropriate send-off. I wish you nothing but the best to you and your husband Jim and your entire family. Please don't hesitate to reach out should you need anything, and best of luck in your new role as a full-time grandparent. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sorry, you're going to have to move. I know.
Council, we have before us Resolution R-16, 2023, a resolution commending Doyle H. Webster for his dedication and service to the city of Springdale. Ms. McNair, at your leisure.
Sorry about that. Resolution number R-16, 2023. Commending Doyle H. Webster for his dedication and service to the city of Springdale. Whereas Doyle H. Webster made Springdale his home in 1964 when he moved from Covington after meeting his wife LaVon while working at Central Trust Bank. Over their 64 years of marriage, the Websters resided on Whalen Court, York Haven, and now Peak Drive. And whereas during Mayor Webster's early years in Springdale, he became engaged in community service through volunteering and coaching sports, with softball and baseball being his favorite. Through recreation, former Mayor Ray Norrish met Mayor Webster and appointed him as chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission in 1970. And whereas Mayor Webster was elected as Clerk of Council Finance Director in 1971, a position he held for 24 years. He was elected as Clerk of, whereas Mayor Webster's banking experience was hard at work over the years as he created a plan to make the city debt-free while guiding municipal spending on resident services, including an $8.2 million bond to repave all residential streets and the building of community center and expansion, the police station, fire station, and municipal building. And whereas Mayor Webster was instrumental in creating many community partnerships, which led to programs that helped our citizens and further connected our residents with one another, like Springdale offering support, Camp at Heritage Hill, Veterans Day Honor Guard, United Way, tree lighting ceremony, city services, and U blood drives, community block parties, Santa Fun Run, Arbor Day tree plantings, Memorial Day parade, and many more. And whereas Doyle H. Webster is the 7th mayor of the city, having served in the role of mayor from December 1995 through November 2023, and has a total of 52 years serving our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that Doyle H. Webster is hereby given the commendation of the Council of the City of Springdale for his outstanding and distinguished service to our city. Section 2, that the Clerk of Council Finance Director is hereby directed to certify a copy of this resolution to Doyle H. Webster. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Sullivan-Westcott?
Thank you. Hi, Mayor Webster. I feel like I've seen you so much these last couple days.
That's better than what you called me last night.
I called him LaVon Webster's husband because for the past 52 years, LaVon has been Mayor Webster's wife. I thought it would be interesting if I called him LaVon Webster's husband just one time to see how he liked it. I've known you pretty much my entire life, and we have not always seen eye to eye.
That's right.
But we've always had the respect of each other, and that is something that I value more than if you're on the same team as me or not, is that we can still at the end of the day respect each other as people. Right. And that was something I've always valued in you, and I've told you that many times. I'm going to tell a story about Becca and you. When we first moved to Springdale, we bought a house across the creek from my parents. And my daughter was always wearing dresses and pretty shoes all the time. And my parents lived on the other side of the creek from us, so we would cross the creek and she'd get her shoes wet all the time. And then one day, out of nowhere, there was a bridge built across the creek so that the city workers could get the mowers back to city property to mow that's by my parents' house. Well, my daughter was just convinced that Mayor Webster had this bridge built so that she wouldn't get her shoes wet when she walked over to her Meemaw and Papaw's house. So when she said, did you build that bridge so I wouldn't get my shoes wet? And he said, yep. And she was, thank you, Mayor Webster. And I just thought it was the cutest thing ever. It's been a joy to serve with you. I'm going to thank you for putting me on commissions long before I was ever on here and believing in me and making me love Springdale even more than I already did.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your time and all of your years of dedication. Thanks.
Ms. McNair?
Thank you, Mr. President. How does one sum up the 52-year career of Mayor Webster that spans 52 years of leadership of the city? The highlight film would be a double feature. The first time I heard the name Doyle Webster was in 1971 when he ran against the incumbent clerk of council who was my trigonometry teacher at Princeton High School, and Doyle Webster won. When the rec center opened in 1972, I was 15 years old and was hired to work there. The first time I saw the Websters, they were walking up the pathway to the rec center, and I looked at them in awe because they were Springdale royalty. Mayor Webster devoted his life to the city. It was a variety, community service opportunities, and he participated, may it be coaching, fundraising, nonprofit charities, partnerships with Princeton City Schools. It was a calling, an intense dedication, and avocation. What do any of us sustain for 52 years besides faith and breathing? A few lucky people can sustain a marriage that long, and he has done that too. But the level of dedication to one cause for over half a century is beyond the expectation and imagination for most people. He did this in addition to his banking and financial career, which he retired from twice. Today we honor him and celebrate his retirement number 3. The number of retirements is getting up there with rock stars and professional athletes. I know the mayor will tell you that he couldn't have done all of this without his family. No one in office that I know would disagree with that statement due to the commitment and sacrifice the family makes to support elected officials' responsibilities. The family is typically in the background, but they must adjust to having their spouse, parent, absent for birthdays, anniversaries, ball games, concerts, rearranging vacations around the many scheduled meetings. I'm not going to highlight any specific accomplishments because there isn't any area of the city that the mayor hasn't been involved in over 52 years. I will express to him for myself and the residents who re-elected him continuously, thank you for a job well done, your undying love for this city, commitment to making Springdale a great place to live, work, learn, and play. Congratulations on your retirement, and again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Mayor Webster, if I may, your massive contribution to this city and the sacrifices that your wife and your daughter have made going along through this process is immeasurable. You have left an indelible mark on this city. You have done so geographically, structurally, economically, but most of all personally, with the number of individuals whose lives you've touched, be it through SOS, be it through folks that have been employees for the city, and be it through individuals that have been appointed on boards and commissions over the years. There are many, many people on this dais and in this room, myself included, who you put on a board or a commission to get things started. I personally, I think as I recall the story, you'd indicated when I ran for school board and I was probably, I don't know, 20, 24, 25, didn't know much of anything. But I think Julie had gone to one of the candidate nights and came back to you and said, that Hawkins kid might be okay. You might want to check him out in a few years. And a few years later, you put me on planning commission. But you've impacted a lot of lives, and that's the thing that's huge and it's going to be remembered forever. So Thank you, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call State Representative Jessica Miranda back up.
All right. Mayor Webster, after listening to all of these wonderful comments about you, this is going to be hard for me to get through this without getting emotional, but I've also had a day in Columbus, so I'm just emotional wreck anyways. Sorry I couldn't be at your luncheon earlier today. I was on the floor placing votes, and I actually passed a bill today. So on behalf of the people of the Great 28, who I'm so humbled to serve every day. But my good friend, Mayor Webster, you are a shining example of what a true public servant is. And I say that with every fiber of my being. I'll never forget the first time I met you, and I didn't have such a great conversation with Levon. Levon actually hung up on me, but I had a great conversation with you, and you gave me a chance, because you and I do not sit on the same side of the aisle, but I think that is the most beautiful thing about public service, is where you can find common ground to serve the greater good of the people that you are elected to represent. And so thank you for being a mentor to me and so many others, and for leading this city through such a dark time when we lost Officer Grant. That is something I will never forget. You and the chief for ushering us through what was a very, very difficult time for this city and our district. I would be remiss, of course, if I didn't mention the strong support of his wife of 64 years, Levon Webster, and his daughter, Julie, who carries on the family legacy by being very engaged in the community at large, and for that I'm very appreciative. I can attest myself that a strong, supportive family is so important for the life of a public servant, and Mayor Webster has no shortage of that. You got your start in public service by stepping up to the plate, quite literally, as a softball coach to a softball team. And it led to you doing so many wonderful things here in the city of Springdale. And I think that is a tribute to what can be accomplished when you continually put the people first. Outside of your, I should say, you're also a fan of the Cincinnati Reds, an avid fan of the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm looking forward to seeing many, many pictures of you and Levon enjoying much-deserved retirement at Great American Ballpark and everywhere else as well. Outside your career of public service, you worked in the financial industry and brought that knowledge here to the city of Springdale, which we will be forever grateful. So thank you for that. It's safe to say that you are an exemplary husband, father, and citizen who has proven your excellence and dedication at every turn. Congratulations on your distinguished career, and I wish you the most peaceful retirement. I will miss you, but please do not be a stranger. And I'm looking forward to being able to still hug you every time I see you. So, on behalf of the 135th General Assembly, oops, that's the wrong one. I got two for you tonight. This is your official State House commendation signed by me, your proud state representative, and the Ohio House Speaker, Jason Stevens. And I'm going to give this one to you, but I also have this second one that I want to bestow upon you tonight, because this is part of your legacy leading this city. This is a commendation to congratulate the city of Springdale for your latest achievement, which is the Best Comprehensive Plan for Small Jurisdictions Award from the American Planning Association here in 2023. So congratulations to you, the entire city and your administration, for racking up so many of these that I get to author and bring down here and present to you. This is proof positive that what has been happening here in Springdale for the last 52 years is the right thing for the people of the city of Springdale. And I just want to say to you and the rest of the folks sitting on the dais and the folks in the audience that, you know, we spend this time honoring the folks who have come before us and served for so many decades. And this shouldn't be, you know, a sad time or a thing to be looked negatively upon. We're just turning the leaf in Springdale, ushering in the new generation of leadership. And folks like you, Mayor Webster and Kathy and others, will always be remembered for everything that you have given this great city. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I'll come down. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You're one of the best Democrats I know. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All righty.
Mr. President, I'm going to continue. Thank you, State Representative Miranda. We're going on next with our Southwest Ohio Regional Liaison, Derek Chancellor.
Stuff to follow. That's good. Mayor Webster, it's great to learn about your careers, and I guess you got 1 year on Kathy, right? So 50 total years of public service, 52 years and 51. Is that why you came out of retirement those few times? Anyway, I've got a commendation here from Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted. Mayor Doyle Webster, on behalf of the state of Ohio, we sincerely thank and commend you for your 52 years of dedicated service to the city of Springdale, including 28 years as mayor and 24 years as clerk of council and finance director. Your commitment and dedication to making a positive difference on your community have made our region and the state of Ohio a better place to live, work, and raise a family. We recognize you for your many years of selfless public service and wish you all the best in a well-deserved retirement with your wife of 64 years, LaVon, and your daughter, Julie. So thank you for your
thank you very
many
much.
years of service.
Very much.
Okay, and up next is Field Representative Michael Robinson from Congressman Warren Davis.
Mr. Mayor, how are you tonight? As I had before, the congressman sent a letter, and I'll read it. Mayor Webster, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. Serving the community for the past 52 years is an amazing accomplishment. When we met in early September, I'm talking about the congressman, obviously, I could immediately tell that you had earned everyone's respect, and rightfully so. Starting in 1971 as clerk of council and finance director, and then moving on over to mayor in 1995, I'd imagine there's not much you haven't come across in your career. I truly enjoyed our conversation and quickly realized you're a tell it like it is kind of guy. I respect that and wish we had gotten to work together longer. I regret that I won't be able to attend your celebration and recognize you in person, but I'm confident the dedicated staff, family, and many friends will show our immense appreciation for all you have done. I wish nothing but the best to you, your wife LaVon, and your entire family. Please don't hesitate to reach out should you need anything, even after leaving office. You will always be a big part of the proud history of the city of Springdale. On a personal note, I've heard a lot about the word service tonight. And if I can say a little dirty word, and council presidents here, politician. That's one of the most negative terms there is. And unfortunately, a lot of people, if you're an elected official, they'll call all elected officials either a politician or they'll call all elected officials a public servant. And it depends on their viewpoint. But really, someone like you who has dedicated the vast majority of your life to public servant, there's no doubt that that's in your DNA, that's in your blood, is to serve and give back. And you should be commended for that. So that's fantastic. Congratulations again. We wish you the best, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you very much. Take a picture there.
Council, you have before you, oh, sorry, Mr. Braun.
Thank you, Mr. President. Staff would like to ask, before we allow Mayor Webster to speak, to add a resolution to the agenda.
Not yet. Before we do that, Council, we have before you, after much discussion, Resolution R16, 2023. We've already had a first and second. Would you please poll council?
Mrs. Sullivan-Weisskopf?
Yes.
Mrs. Gantos? Yes. Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez? Aye. Mr. Hawkins?
Aye. Thank you. Mr. Braun.
Okay, now that you voted, staff is going to ask council to add Resolution 18, 2023 to the agenda. It's being distributed right now. This is an addition. As soon as you have a copy.
Thank you.
I'll allow Ms. McNear to read it by title, and then you can consider adding it to the agenda.
By title? Only? Okay. Resolution number 18, 2023, a resolution establishing Webster Way in the city of Springdale.
Council, do we have a motion to add Resolution R18, 2023 to the agenda?
I'd like to add resolution number 18, 2023 to the agenda for this evening.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. McNair, if you would call the roll with regard to making the addition of R18, 2023 to the agenda.
Mrs. Sullivan-Weisskopf?
Aye.
Mrs. Gantos? Aye. Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
The motion to add Resolution R18, 2023 passes with 6 affirmative votes. Council, you have before you Resolution R18, 2023.
Want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Resolution number 18, 2023, a resolution establishing Webster Way in the city of Springdale. Whereas Walnut Street is a city of Springdale, the city road located adjacent to the municipal building, which is utilized frequently by the city employees and connects Longview Avenue and West Kemper Road in the city. And whereas the council of the city of Springdale, City Council, seeks to recognize the many contributions made by Doyle Webster over the course of his 52 years of service to the city. And whereas City Council seeks to rename a portion of Walnut Street as Webster Way in honor of the long-standing service of Doyle Webster to the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, in recognition of the significant contributions made by Doyle Webster to the City of Springdale, Walnut Street between Longview Avenue and West Kemper Road shall be renamed Webster Way. Section 2, city staff is instructed to notify all relevant Hamilton County agencies and offices of this change to the relevant portion of Walnut Street. Section 3, council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the reading of Resolution R18, 2023. What's your pleasure?
Move to adopt. My voice second.
Any discussion? Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have a history here of naming streets after those who have served in our community. Mayor News, Mayor Norris, City Administrator Osborne, or some of the folks. Mayor Webster is the 7th mayor to serve our city. He served since December 1st, 1995 for 28 years. As been said many times, 24 years also as Clerk of Council Finance Director. We may never have another person serve 52 years. That's a lot. It's hard to get elected over and over, and it's difficult to serve 52 years. I personally don't know a single person that's ever served that long. Mayor Webster is a straight shooter. Sometimes that can ruffle feathers. From an administrator's point of view and from the administration's point of view, that helps us. We always know where he's coming from, and we appreciate it when elected officials are that way with us. May not be popular, but it's the way we like it, and we've grown to expect that. We've always known where the mayor is coming from. He makes his points clear. I've been government myself for 39 years, and I've realized that you cannot always make people happy. It's not a popularity contest, and I guarantee you I've ruffled some feathers myself over the years. That aside, I appreciate the presentations and the recognition that we received, and you folks taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here for both the mayor and Mrs. McNear. It's very appreciative. On behalf of our administration, we feel that it's well-deserved that our mayor of 28 years and his dedicated service over 52 years, that we as an administration are respectfully requesting that this council named the identified portion of Walnut Street to Webster Way. We think that this would be a small token of gratitude and appreciation for his half-century of commitment to this community. Thank you.
Seeing no further lights for discussion, Ms. McNear, if you please poll council.
Mrs. Gantos?
Aye.
Mrs. Sullivan Weisskopf?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins?
Aye. Resolution R18, 2023 passes with 6 affirmative votes.
Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's not your turn yet. We'll get to you in a second. Council, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know that our administration is so appreciative of this. We were certainly hoping that would happen tonight, but we never want to be so presumptuous that we take things for granted. But we were kind of hoping that you would go along with it. And
Now, is it my turn to talk?
it is, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm not sure where to start. Except to say, from the bottom of my heart, I can say that this has been 52 years of a labor of love. If I hadn't enjoyed what I was doing, I would have gotten out of this business a long, long time ago. But I enjoyed serving the people of this city. Enjoyed trying to solve their problems. Didn't enjoy when they called with a problem and I couldn't help them, but that's just part of the business. But you have to be respectful and go on to the next problem. I shared a comment whenever Memorial Day was, or Veterans Day. And I read this, I'm not sure even where I read this, but it goes something like this. What you do when you're living for yourself dies when you die. But what you do for other people lives for eternity. And I would hope that in some small way, I've done some things for this city that will live on into eternity. Now, I probably should just shut up right there and say let's go on with the meeting, but I'm never one to be short for words. So just let me say, and I'm sure I'm going to leave some people out here, and I'll apologize to them before I start, but I would like to thank that John and Brian for orchestrating all of today's events. It's been, since 11 o'clock today, it's just been one surprise, pleasant surprise after another one. Had a great luncheon for 2.5 hours down at the rec center. Midway through the luncheon, my family and I were called out to the rotunda, if you will, and so we're all lined up against a wall. And I thought we were going to take a picture, and I figured, well, this is a strange way to take a picture, to line people up single file. Well, they said, we all want you to turn around and look at the doorway. Well, while we were in the luncheon, they had renamed the wing of the building where the club rooms are and the senior lounge. Doyle Webster Way, or Doyle Webster, is that what it's called? Something, Doyle Webster meeting area, or something to that effect. Well, you know, I made a pledge to myself before I went down here today. I says, I'm not gonna cry. There's no tears are gonna be shed for me today. It's just too happy of a day. Well, that's the closest I came when I turned around and I saw that up there. And then we go back in the room, and sure enough, there's a plaque on the doorway on all three of the club rooms, Doyle Webster, club room A, B, C, and so forth. So I did jerk a little tear there, I have to admit. So anyway, I can't thank these guys enough. The person, let's see, where is she? Nicole, stand up here, man. This young lady took care of the day's events down at the community center, did an absolutely marvelous job. I think everybody commented on the way it was handled, the message board, or the, what do you call those things?
Photo presentation?
Okay. Photo presentation. Yeah, but you know, everything was just perfect. And so John told me, I delegated that to Nicole, and she took it from there. So you did a marvelous job. So I want to thank you very much, Nicole Browner, one of our administrative assistants, and thank you. I can't say enough. One of my philosophies, I know you didn't last to hear this, but you guys are going to hear it anyway. One of my philosophies in life as a manager is that you hire the best people you can get. But the first prerequisite, you only talk and hire people that are smarter than yourself. Because I don't want a manager working for me that's not smarter than I am. So you hire smart people, you train them, you give them the materials and equipment that they need to do their job. Then the very most important thing is you get the hell out of their way and you let them do their thing. And that's exactly what I've done with this city for 52 years. And the accomplishments that we've talked about today and that have been listed here, yeah, I get credit for them, but believe me, I didn't do these things. You all know that. You know, SOS, we've done marvelous things with SOS. I haven't done that, but I've got some smart, hard-working people that have accomplished that. And the same way here, this row of people in the back row here, this is the backbone of the city. These are hard-working, dedicated, smart people that do their job and do it well. And they make us all proud to live in the city of Springdale. So anyway, all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, in my 52 years as in a public official and 28 as mayor, I've had a lot of events that I'm extremely proud of. A lot of things that have happened. First off, 13 elections. I won 13 of them. I think that's something to be very proud of. But last Tuesday on November 7th, we had an 83-year-old woman that threw her hat in the political ring for the first time in her career. And she won. And that lady happens to be my bride of 64 years, LaVon L. Webster, and I'm so proud of her. That's one of my proudest moments. And I can now say we as a family are 14-0. So thank you very much. You know, I really think that's the end of my comments. I did not have anything as eloquently prepared as Mrs. McNear, but I just wanted to speak from the heart here a few minutes, and I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate all you guys coming out. I mean, I've said this many times, the only time we get this many people in city council is if we're going to raise taxes or we're going to build a sidewalk in somebody's front yard. Then people come out. And so I appreciate all of you coming out tonight, and thank you very much for your dedication and helping me be successful in 52 years. Thank you.
Council, we have, Mr. Jones.
I just just wanted to share. Thank you, Mr. President. It's going to take a little time getting used to these new systems. Thank you, Mr. President. I know that some of our special guests, and we're so grateful that you folks were here tonight, we know that you need to get going, and you should not feel bad about getting up and doing that at your convenience, because our meeting is going to carry on, but I wanted to tell you how much we appreciated you being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council, moving forward, we have committee and official reports. First up is Civil Service Commission with Mr. Coleman.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor-elect. On behalf of the Civil Service Commission, we did meet on November the 2nd, and all members were present. Minutes were approved from the previous meeting. I'll somewhat curtail the report this evening, as there's been a lot of activity and a lot of commendations for the individuals so deserving. So again, I appreciate having served my time with Mayor Webster and with Mrs. McNair also. So as far as the Civil Service Commission report, the following hiring processes are still active: Building Department Administrative Assistant, Firefighter 2 EMT and Firefighter 2 Paramedic, Fleet Mechanic, Patrol Officer, Police Clerk, Public Works Maintenance, and Account Clerk 1 as well. I commend Mr. Ewell and Ms. Morgan for their efforts in juggling all of these different hiring processes, as they seem to be never-ending and ongoing. So again, I certainly thank you on behalf of the Civil Service Commission for your efforts. I don't know how they keep track of all of this, but they bring it to civil service, and we manage to work our way through it. Also, the hiring process has commenced for the public health nurse position. The public health nurse job description has been revised to reflect the responsibility as a director of nursing. We think this is a step in the right direction as the responsibilities continue to increase for that position. I think that's all that I have for this evening, and thank you for your attention. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Coleman.
All right.
Rules and laws, Ms. Gantos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No report.
Finance Committee, myself, no report. Planning Commission, Ms. Sullivan-Weiscup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Commission met last night, and everyone was present. We had 2 different companies before us, but 3 different things. The first one was Wawa for a minor modification to a development plan. We were basically approving the building colors, and those were approved to 7-0, and they said that they will start building around January, and that in June and July they'll go vertical, and then it'll take about 6 months past that before they're expecting to open if everything goes well with the build. Our second piece of business was Chick-fil-A, and they had a parking lot expansion, and they also had a modification. There was 2 different things. The first thing was a zone change, and that was to change from SS to a PUD. They had purchased the strip in front of and on the side of, like the grass around Chick-fil-A, and that was SS. That's the zoning is SS right now, and we are recommending that when it comes before council next month, that it be approved as a PUD to put it all into one with the Chick-fil-A parcel, so it's all under the same PUD. The second thing that we did was a PUD modification, and that will come before us next month, so we will be looking for that to come next month with all the information. And there were a lot of things that we talked to about because when you get it next month, you'll see that since they purchased that grass, it's a little closer to Kemper than it is currently. And so there was a lot of talk about the canopy lighting, and they're going to be getting with the city and going through different things to make sure that that is what is wanted and what is needed for that area, because right now they have it very, very bright and they're very close to the road, so we're trying to work with them to figure that out. That was all that we had, and that passed the 7-0 vote, and we will see that next month. And that's all that I have, unless you have anything to add? No, all complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Board of Zoning Appeals, Ms. Gantos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Zoning Appeals met on Tuesday, October 24th. We had 6 members present. We had 2 items on the agenda. The owner of 715 Allen Avenue was requesting a 29-foot front yard setback variance of zoning code section 153.252, table 252-2, to add a front porch cover which requires the front yard setback to be 35 feet from the property line. And after much discussion, we voted on that, and it was passed with a 6-0 vote. The next item was Chase Bank, 11745 Princeton Pike. They were unable to attend the meeting, so we voted to table that till the next meeting. Jeff, anything I forgot?
Sounds perfect.
We're good. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Board of Health, Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Health met on November 9th. The meeting was full of a lot of transition. As we heard from Mr. Coleman's report, Nurse Ellis is moving on to other opportunities, so there were a lot of goodbyes, in addition to the mayor serving in his last position as the chairman of that board. And it was a pleasure to serve with you on the Board of Health, even though
Thank you.
I'm just really filling a chair in there. So there's a lot of transition. We're also losing the service of Carol Quinlan Hall. She's retiring from the Board of Health. In terms of actual decisions made, there was just the procedural vote on 3 resolutions to update fee schedules for hotels, food vendors, and swimming pools, and those were all approved. In terms of COVID, there's a continued decline after a bit of a spike in the fall, which most people expected. And really, that's about all there was of substance, unless there are any questions.
Seeing none, thank you. Capital improvements, Ms. Gantos.
No report.
OKI, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The OKI Executive Board met on November 9th. There's one item I wanted to share with the group that came out of it. There was a presentation with a lot of discussion about the carbon reduction program. This is the same program that I mentioned at our last meeting that was brought up through OKI. There's federal funding that's set up. They gave more details on it. It provides up to $1 million per application for Ohio jurisdictions. Each jurisdiction can submit up to 3 applications. This is a program that is specifically set up to allow publicly owned parking lots or other structures to establish or create, install electrical hookups for EV vehicles. So these are the DC fast charging equipment. The level 2 charging equipment is also eligible. The really neat thing about this program is that it doesn't even have a local match assigned to it. So it's an opportunity for jurisdictions to find and install some of these EV charging equipments in places that they wouldn't normally be able to put in. So even like public garages, things like that. The rules are different. They're being administered differently. So if we haven't looked into it yet, I would encourage us to do that to see if there's opportunity to get some of that funding. They were pushing it pretty hard that they're hoping to get a lot of applications because they've got the money and they want to spend it to start getting that infrastructure built out. The deadline for those applications is February 1st, 2024 at 4 p.m. And I think it's a great opportunity to install some chargers wherever we could get them. Other than that, there was minor updates on the Metropolitan Plan and minor updates to the TIP, which is where money gets assigned. There were a couple programs added for streetcar and other byways that were added. That's it, unless there's any questions.
Seeing none, thank you.
I'm still used to reflexively looking to push my button off. I'm not the only one doing that, right?
Mayor's report. Mayor Webster.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Anderson, I'm surprised you didn't mention the $4 million that you got for us down at OKI for the intersection of Northland Boulevard and Kemper Road.
That was approved at last month's meeting. I
Yeah,
think we talked about
okay,
it at
we,
the last
we
meeting.
just got the letter today to make it official, but we're getting $4,078, $4,078,825 for that improvement. That's a 2027 project, and I was just reviewing the numbers with Mr. Agricola before the meeting. That's about a $6 million project. We're on the hook for 20% of it. But this $4 million grant that we got from OKI will go towards the construction costs of that project. So we're very happy to have that. So we've got 4 years to try to come up with our $2 million share of that. So I think we'll kick some tires and find a way to fund that somewhere or other, or with somebody else's money, hopefully. Okay. Okay. The other thing I'd like to talk about a little bit, and this is my final SOS plea to the community. This is an organization we started, I believe, in 2008. We've helped probably 1,000 families over the years, and our goal is to help 100 families again this year during the Christmas holidays. Last year we made that goal. We helped 100 families and I think 375 children. Had several kids that got to shop with a cop, and so forth and so on. And so we do this with donations that we get from the community. And so that's where what the plea I'm making tonight is to, if you could just see your way clear to adopt a family for us. We've already got our 100 families that have applied for aid for their Christmas holiday. We've only got 30 sponsor families, so we're looking for 70 families. And now last year, last year we had about 60 sponsors, so we're halfway to where we were last year. So if you could see your way to open up your heart, your pocketbook, and help us out, we'd certainly appreciate it. We've got several businesses that have pledged some support, so I think we're going to have a successful season, but we can sure use your support. And as I indicated, this will be my last plea for help as mayor. I'm hoping that Mr. Hawkins here will take up the call, and he'll be trying to pick your pockets going forward instead of me. But anyway, I'll still be very actively involved in the charity, and so will the city staff. So I think that's what's really made this. This is a Springdale. This is not a Dora Webster project. This is a Springdale city project, and I think it shows. And we need to turn out and help these families and these children. So our vendor village, which I've given you updates on before, we have spots for 42 vendors. We think we're almost full. We may have 1 or 2 slots left, but that thing is really filled up, and we're looking forward to. And that's going to go on until 3 o'clock, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it goes on until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and we'll have a food truck there for somebody who wants to grab some lunch and so forth. So, so we're looking forward to December the 2nd, very festive day, starting off with the 5K walk run, and hopefully the weatherman cooperates with us. And I think that that concludes my report. When I was giving all my thank yous, I don't specifically remember thanking the 2 young ladies sitting right here in the second row, my family. And I could never survive 52 years in this job without my wife and daughter. So thank you, ladies. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor Webster. Clerk of Council, Finance Director, report, Ms. McNair.
I have no report this evening. Thank you.
Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few things here. Let me start with Kathy. I hope that you appreciated us not making a big deal out of your retirement. So,
way to go.
Really grateful that they committed early on that they would be here and present, and they followed through with it, and it really is appreciated. On behalf of the administration, we want to thank Carolyn Gantos, Councilman Lawrence Hawkins and Councilman Joe Ramirez for your willingness to serve our council. You've done a great job. We appreciate the many years of service that you've provided to us, and I have never witnessed anything but professionalism from all of you, and I want to thank you for your service to council. It's been a pleasure working with you. I also want to congratulate our new mayor-elect, Lawrence Hawkins, also Councilwoman Michelle McFarland, Councilwoman LaVon Webster, and Councilman David Gleaves. They'll begin their new roles up here on the dais on December 1st. I want to conclude tonight with Mayor Webster. On behalf of our administration, we collectively appreciate your faithful years of service to our community. The ability to conduct business with you and the no-nonsense approach has been so much appreciated. Brian, this thing's about to drive me crazy. And that's a short drive. Oh, let's turn yours off. That better? All right, hopefully. All right, so I was saying that, Mayor, your no-nonsense approach for us, Jeff Agricola and I were talking about that again today. It just makes it simple and easy for us. We always know where we are with things, and it really helps with that process. You're willing to listen to us and our recommendations, even if you don't agree with us, you listen to us. And your insight and wisdom over 50 years that you've gathered has been highly valuable to us, and we're very appreciative. Just want you to think about this a second. 52 years. So that means that's a lot of time. I think President Hawkins mentioned earlier that that's a lot of time away from your family and doing some things that you want to be doing. 52 years, 2 times a month, that's 1,352 meetings. I want you to think about that a minute. 1,352 meetings. Going to miss you up here on the dais. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Law Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I usually don't have a report because most of what I do is in the background. However, I did want to take a moment tonight to thank Ms. Gantos and Mr. Ramirez. I've truly enjoyed serving with both of you on the committee, particularly Ms. Gantos on the rules and laws. You were always prepared for the meetings and very insightful, and I don't think people realize that serving as a member of council, when you make a rule or you make a law, it impacts every single person in the community, and you always had that in your heart and thought about that when we had our meetings. And Mr. Ramirez, who often gave the report for planning and attended all of those meetings, always knew the information, was prepared, and it makes such a difference. So I wanted to thank both of you for your service to the city. I also wanted to announce to you that tomorrow I have the opportunity to conduct the new council member training for the 3 new members of council, and I'll be updating them on public record laws, open meeting laws, and ethics laws, and they'll begin their career. So, but again, thank you for your service, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mayor Webster.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct Mr. Jones's math a little bit. He had no way of knowing this, but for the first 3-4 years I was on council, or I was finance director, we met every single week. Not every single Wednesday. We met down above the firehouse on Grandin Avenue where the Waffle House is. And I'm saying I'm talking about 3- and 4-hour meetings. I mean, there was no short meetings. I mean, but it was the formative years of the city, and it was responsible for what you see today in this city. It really was. And so it was a lot of pleasant memories, but no offense, John, but your math was a little off.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Webster. Engineers report, Mr. Riggs.
Thank you. So we're moving along with the Northland Boulevard project. We're still in the right-of-way process. We have our next progress meeting on the 17th, so Friday. We're working to get final plans submitted over to ODOT by the December 8th deadline, and that's to meet, to allow ODOT to go to bid sometime in May. And ideally that construction will start in July of next year. We also have the community center HVAC replacement project. The work on the two smaller units is complete. We're still waiting on the larger unit to come in, but that's expected to arrive sometime in February. The Crescentville Road Improvement Projects, Route 4 to 747. The catch basins work, that's all complete. The spot curb replacements are going to be completed, if not this week, next week. Then we're going to be working on the concrete entrance apron replacements later this month. The Tri-County Parkway Sidewalk Extension Project, we're going to actually submit plans back to Public Works at the end of the week. It's about 90% planned, so there'll be a few little minor tweaks, but then we'll begin working with the adjacent property owners on acquiring any rights of entry that we need. There's probably one or two, basically just to tie driveways back in. Then the new project that was mentioned, the Kemper Northland intersection realignment and Kemper Road Shared Use Path project. The OKI award was officially, the letter was officially received today. And we're looking to have the scoping meeting early next year. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Riggs. Rental Program Committee, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. No report.
Thank you. Any communications, Ms. McNair?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
And communications from the audience? I don't know where he put his clock.
Julie Matheny. I'm just here to announce that the Charter Revision Committee will have their annual meeting on Wednesday, December 6th at 6:30 in one of these meeting rooms out here. And we have one board member that is up for, her term is up, that's Marcy Hongs, and she is very interested in returning to Charter Revision. So, thank you.
Thank you. Communications from the audience? Going once, going twice. Close communications from the audience. Moving forward into ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance number 45-2023, an ordinance amending chapters 30 and 38 and repealing section 94.202 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Ms. McNair, when you're ready.
Ordinance number 45-2023, an ordinance amending chapters 30 and 38 and repealing section 94.202 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas a charter amendment was passed by the voters of Springdale in the general election of November 2021, which eliminated the elected position of Clerk of Council Finance Director and created the appointed position of Clerk of Council. And whereas the approved elimination of the position of Clerk of Council Finance Director and creation of the position of Clerk of Council becomes effective December 1st, 2023. And whereas Council seeks to make certain amendments to chapters 30 and 38 and repeal section 94.202 of the Code of Ordinances consistent with the charter revisions that eliminated the position of Clerk of Council Finance Director Charter and created the position of Clerk of Council. And whereas along with these changes, other revisions are being recommended to other city positions consistent with the current city operations. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Springdale, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, Chapters 30, 38, and 94 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale shall be amended as provided for in the attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein by reference. Section 94.202 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale shall be repealed in its entirety. All other provisions contained in Chapters 30, 38, and 94 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale not specifically amended or repealed herein shall remain in full force and effect. Section 2, Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all other deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 3, that this ordinance shall be an emergency measure necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare, and shall be effective immediately. The reason for the emergency is to enact and adopt code reflective of the current city operations at the earliest possible date, and to ensure immediate compliance charter revisions becoming effective December 1st, 2023. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law.
Council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 45, 2023. What say you?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Ms. McNear, will you poll council, please?
Mrs. Sullivan Weisskopf?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson? Aye. Mrs. Gantos? Aye. Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins?
Aye. Ordinance number 45, 2023 passes with 6 affirmative votes. Council, you have before you ordinance number 46, 2023, an ordinance enacting and adopting the 2023 S26 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Ms. McNear, when you're ready.
Ordinance number 46, 2023, an ordinance enacting and adopting the 2023 S26 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas the City of Springdale contracts annually with the American Legal Publishing Corporation to prepare an update to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, the City Code, to reflect changes and ensure that the City Code is in compliance with recent revisions to local, state, and federal laws. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Springdale, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that the 2023 S26 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, is prepared and submitted by American Legal Publishing Corporation, a copy of which is on file with the Clerk of Council Finance Director, who certifies that the codification, renumbering, and rearrangement in book form is correct, is hereby adopted and incorporated by reference as if set forth herein in its entirety. Section 2, Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the passage of this legislation were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of its committees, if any, which result in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect on the earliest date allowed by law. Section 4, that this ordinance shall be an emergency measure necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare, and shall, subject to the terms of Article 2D3D of the Charter, be effective immediately. The reason for the emergency is to enact and adopt the 2023 S26 supplement at the earliest possible date to ensure immediate compliance with revisions made to local, state, and federal laws since the last update.
Council, you've heard the reading of ordinance number 46, 2023. What say you?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Ms. McNair, will you please poll council?
Mrs. Sullivan Weisskopf?
Aye.
Mrs. Gantos?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez? Aye. And Mr. Hawkins?
Aye. Ordinance number 46, 2023 passes with 6 affirmative votes. Going into old business, does anyone have any old business to raise before council this evening? Seeing none, new business. Moving on to meetings and announcements. Ms. Sullivan Weisskopf.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning Commission will meet on Tuesday, December 12th at 7 p.m. in these chambers.
Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Springdale Board of Health will meet on December 14th adjacent to these chambers.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Board of Zoning Appeals will meet on November 28th at 7 p.m. in these chambers.
Ms. McNair.
Yes, just a final thank you to everybody for a nice evening and signing off. Thanks again.
And that concludes meetings and announcements. Communications from the audience. Are there any communications from the audience? Going once, going twice. Closing communications from the audience. I'll go to me with an update on legislation for one of my final times, still in development. As you review your internal memorandums, item number 1 was addressed with ordinance number 46, 2023, an ordinance enacting and adopting the 2023 S26 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and declaring an emergency, and that passed the 6 affirmative votes. Item number 2 was addressed with ordinance number 45, 2023, an ordinance amending chapters 30 and 38 and repealing section 94.202 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Ohio, and that passed with 6 affirmative votes. Item number 3 was addressed with resolutions R16, 2023 and R17, 2023, resolutions recognizing Mayor Doyle H. Webster and Clerk of Council Finance Director Kathy McNair for their years of service to the City of Springdale, both passing with 6 affirmative votes. We also had resolution R18, 2023, a resolution establishing Webster Way in the City of Springdale, and that also passed the 6 affirmative votes. All other matters were forthcoming. And a recap on legislative items requested for the next meeting. We have several resolutions with regard to council appointments, confirmation of mayoral appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees. We also have resolution recognizing Carolyn Gantos and Joseph Ramirez for their years of service to the City of Springdale, Ohio. Does anyone have anything else to add with regard to future legislation? And with that, I will make my final number 17 motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Thank you. We are adjourned.